Welcome to the Celiac Diaries podcast. I'm your host, Lucia Cordero, and this is where we get real about life with celiac disease. Each week, I'll share practical gluten-free tips, wellness hacks, and honest conversations about the emotional side of living with an autoimmune condition. Think of this as your weekly mix of support, relatability, and inspiration to help you not just survive, but thrive with celiac. Before we dive in, just a quick reminder, I'm not a medical professional. Everything I share is based on my own experience living with celiac disease. This podcast is not medical advice, so please always consult your doctor about your own health. Hi, welcome back to the Celiac Diaries podcast. I'm your host, Lucia Cordero, and we have Mia from Allergies with Mia in the studio with us today.
So excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me today, Lucia.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to chat with you. I am obsessed with your page. I love your content. Seriously, like if you guys don't know Allergies with Mia, I feel like I know people by like their handle names and it's hard to get it out of my mind.
Yeah.
But you guys definitely need to check out Allergy with Mia's page. It's the best. So you are the second non-celiac person that I've had on the podcast.
I'm honored.
Yeah, and I think like your journey and everything that you share online is just so inspiring. So for our listeners that don't know, you have 50 plus food allergies, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And you're documenting everything from like your food challenges, outgrowing allergies, testing, having reactions, and like you're so honest with your experience. And like it's one of those things I watch your content and I'm like, wow, she's so brave, so inspiring. Like having celiac is similar in some ways, but I think it's a very different experience in a lot of ways. And like, right. I look at your journey and I'm like, I know you might be tired of people like saying this to you, but I'm like, I don't know how you do it. Like I could not imagine. It seems like, not to like compare things, but it does seem like way harder than celiac in my opinion, for sure. And I'm so glad that you're here on the podcast so we can learn from you and just hear all about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that food allergies and celiac are different but also similar. And I think that like both struggles are valid. They're just very vastly different. Having food allergies is a very different experience than having celiac, but I think that they're both valid. And it's super cool to like have like you in the celiac space and someone like me in the allergy space and kind of come together and like bridge this kind of gap because we're all wanting the same thing in life. We want to feel safe and included in a world that isn't really like built for people like us. So it's super cool to kind of like, you know, bridge that gap and be here today.
I love that because not only can we learn different things from each other and our experiences, but like we are working towards the same goal. And like there's so many overlaps with like, you know, things going on politically and like laws and changes that like we all want to stand behind together. And it's best if we are all united. So I love that perspective.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a couple of segments at Celiac Diaries on the pod. First up is our gluten-free fave of the week. Okay. So I know you have a lot of restrictions. Do you want to like say your allergies?
Yeah.
So everyone is aware?
Yeah. So I'm allergic to over 50 foods and I've had this my entire life. So currently I'm allergic to all nuts except for almond and macadamia nuts. Hazelnut was a false alarm, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to eggs unless it's like baked in a cake or in like a muffin. But if it's on its own or scrambled, I can't eat it. It's because this is like chemistry 101. But basically when you cook something for a long time, it kind of kills the protein. So for me, when I cook like eggs like in a baked dish or something, it dilutes it and it kills that specific protein so I can eat it. I'm not sure exactly why that's the case, but that's just the science behind it. So I can't have like egg in that form. Same goes for dairy. I did just re-outgrow, because that's a whole different topic too, but my cooked dairy allergy, I outgrew it again for a second time. And I can have dairy if it's like, I can have dairy if it's like on a pizza, like mashed potatoes, but I can't have it if it's like a glass of milk because, again, when you cook it for a long period of time, it kills those proteins that I'm allergic to. It's really interesting.
Okay. Well, pizza's a better form of dairy than a glass of milk,
I agree.
That's good.
I love pizza. And then I'm allergic to a bunch of random fruits like watermelon, peaches, pears, mango, cherries, kiwi, basically all the pitted fruits. are a no-no for me.
Okay.
I'm allergic to zucchini and eggplant. Actually, fun fact, you had No Gluten Gabby on the podcast recently. She came to my eggplant food challenge and she cooked me eggplant, which was so sweet. I did
see that on
lovely.
social media, yeah.
She was my emotional support celiac. I love her if she's watching this. Hi, Gabby. Anyway, I'm allergic to sesame, basically all seeds except for sunflower seed oil I can have. I can't have sunflower seeds itself.
Okay.
Because it's like super processed and it kills those proteins too that I'm allergic to. I'm trying to think of what else.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
like different proteins in different forms.
Science.
I never thought about it like
you
that.
Wouldn't think that like you would need to apply like high school chemistry and biology, but like clearly it's still relevant and applicable. So I'm allergic to, I'm trying to think of what else, a bunch of random like sulfates and food colorings, like orange and yellow food dye, which is often found in like goldfish, Welch's fruit snacks.
Okay, yeah.
So, and it's also in like medicine too. I've had a reaction once to like this medication that had orange food dye and I had like tons of hives. So it also applies in that as well. I'm trying to think of what else. It's a long list. This is also really important. All seafood, including shellfish.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then there's a bunch of more that I'm blanking on, but I'll like send you the full list if you want after this. But that's like overall what I'm allergic to. But my most severe allergies that I'm very mindful of are like nuts, sesame, fish, dairy, and eggs. Like those are the ones that I'm very cautious of and very like alert about. Like I have an allergy chef card and I just keep those allergies on that card because I can't list like all 50 of them because there's no way like anyone's going to want to read that or want to even like serve me food.
Or some of them might not be relevant if you're at like a dinner place. Like you don't need to tell them necessarily about like
the fruit or something. If I go to like a steakhouse and I'm like, I'm allergic to apples, they'll be like, okay, like okay,
great, thanks,
great, like and so there's definitely like a time and place for sure with that. But
okay, so you can have wheat.
I can have wheat. I have a slight intolerance to it. Like I get bloated, but because my diet is so limited, I'm just willing to suffer through that because like I do try to eat a little bit gluten-free at times. Like I recently discovered this really good gluten-free bread from like Rudy's, I think. Is that the brand? Do they have good
Rudy's? Yeah.
They have really good gluten-free bread.
That's a good brand.
But overall, like I do eat wheat, which I'm like grateful for that I have something that I can eat because my diet is pretty restrictive. So
yeah, totally. Wow. Okay. And I feel like a lot of breads that like happen to be gluten-free, like a lot of times it's kind of like a blanket, like this is an allergy-friendly sort of thing, so like they won't have like sesame or different seeds or nuts,
right?
Which is kind of interesting. But I guess it not having gluten maybe it obviously doesn't like apply to you, but like you might have more gluten-free things just because they happen to be like the allergy-friendly version, or is that correct?
No, that's so true. And it's funny because like oftentimes when I go to a restaurant and tell them I have all these allergies, they'll say, oh, you're gluten-free too, right? I'm like, actually, no. Like I can have gluten. That's like the one thing I can have.
Give me the pasta.
Please. Like every time I go, there's this one restaurant, and I'm from Boston, I go to all the time. And I will always tell them like, please, like I'll say, here's my allergies, here's my list. And they make me like a sandwich, but they'll give me gluten-free bread. And I'm like, no, actually, I can't even have your gluten-free bread because it has eggs. Like I'm actually allergic to that gluten-free bread.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh. So I have to always tell them whenever I order, please give me the normal bread, like the wheat bread. I actually cannot have the gluten-free bread you're serving. It's such a weird thing that happens, but people oftentimes like mix up and think, oh, you can have nuts. Oh, okay, gluten-free. And I'm like, no. I can't have gluten. Like, I love gluten.
But that's actually a common thing. And I think that's why it's important for people to be like specific with their language, which is what like I'm trying to do. Because sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't have wheat. But really like that's not what I can't have. I can't have gluten. So I think it's just like people being specific, and then that helps other, like whether it's like a server or, just someone that's helping you with like finding the right food for you, like then they have the right vocabulary and information, because it is kind of like sometimes things get blanketed. Like it's super common for someone to think that I'm like vegetarian or vegan,
really,
because I'm gluten free, and I'm like, no,
that's so funny,
it's totally different, but
like very different things, like very different.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like there's just a lot of misinformation. A lot of people just aren't also like really educated on like the differences between like celiac or food allergies, and think that, oh, if you have this one allergy, it means you're allergic to something else, but that's like not necessarily true.
Yeah. It's not a one size fits all. Like there's no one like standard allergy free thing that exists. It's very like it has to be customizable based on each individual's needs. So
yeah.
Totally. Do you happen to have a product that happens to be gluten free?
Yes,
that you like, or a place in New York?
My current fixation is Bub's Bakery in New York City.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
I probably go like, I don't know, once a week. Like, it's really good. Specifically, their cinnamon rolls are, have you had Bub's before?
I haven't, but I swear you're like the 5th person on the podcast to bring it up, and I've had maybe 7 people on the podcast.
This is your sign to go to Bub's. You have to go. I will go with you. It is literally, I mean, again, as someone that can have gluten, I cannot tell that it's gluten-free. Like, everything is so, like, fluffy and, like, delicious and flavorful, and their cinnamon buns specifically are just, like, very addicting, very good. That's my gluten-free favorite of the week, or honestly of the year at this point, because it's so good.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with that. Okay, I need to go, and the listeners are probably like, you're a broken record because you've been saying that for weeks, but I actually do need to take a trip. Okay, moving on to our next segment of the week, we have news of the week. I learned about this news story from your Instagram page, and I saved it as soon as I saw it because I was like, I want to talk to Mia about this on the podcast. But New York just became the first state to require allergen labels on prepackaged foods made in store, like deli sandwiches, bakery items, and grab-and-go meals, which is such a game changer. I'm like always going to like the prepackaged sections, and when they don't have like a label about like gluten or even an ingredients list, I'm like, okay, this is like a little scary. Like, I'm obviously not going to buy it because I don't know. But starting November 2026, these foods will have to clearly label the top 9 allergens, including wheat, milk, eggs, and nuts. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the fact that this is happening now is kind of like wild to me because this should have been done like such a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like a yay, amazing thing, but it's also to me like the bare minimum. Mm-hmm. But that being said, progress is progress, and we love progress. And I feel like this will help so many people hopefully find more foods that are safe for them, maybe, or at least know what is in the food that they're wanting to purchase, or at least looking at. Because oftentimes, like when I go to like a deli, there is no ingredient list. It's just like sandwich with ham and lettuce. I'm like, that's not an ingredient list. That's just listing what foods are in it, but not the specifics.
Right.
So I think at least having the top 9 allergens will make it really like a lot easier for people like me and for you to like kind of at least distinguish like if it's a potentially like a safe option or not. So I'm very excited about this, but I'm also like, okay, we need to have this in all 50 states. Like, this needs to be a thing everywhere.
I know. So, like, we have a whole nother year till it's implemented. So it is like, okay, baby steps here, but like progress is progress.
Yeah.
One thing that I've been like trying to educate myself more about is like all of the kind of like activism around like food allergy awareness and like different laws and, you know, policies that people are like petitioning for, or, you know, just trying to make things more accessible and equitable for people that have like dietary restrictions or allergies.
Right.
Because I kind of wasn't super aware of that space till recently. And when we were talking earlier, I was like sick last week, and I was and I posted too, I think you commented on that video where I was like trying to like read my cold medicine to see like what the ingredients were and if it was gluten-free. And I know that there's like a whole act right now that's
the Hazelnut Act,
to make that allergen label and ingredient labels like so much more specific on medications, especially like over the counter or even like pharmacy medications. So it seems like you're really in tune with that space and involved. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's again, we are so behind, I feel like, compared to other countries. Like in Europe, I don't know if they have this law. I'm not 100% sure, but at least in terms of like labeling laws, they are better about it than we are in the US. So I'm super like thrilled that we are starting to get the ball rolling on this. And because the ADINA Act has bipartisan support, it gives me a lot of hope, because allergies, like, while it is political, it shouldn't be, because it affects everyone regardless of like what your political party is. But it's good to see, for once in a very divided time that we're living in politically, that both sides are coming together on this bill and are supporting it. And again, like, it's also going to affect like people like you and me, people that have IBS, other kinds of dietary restrictions that aren't just allergies, because you're gluten-free, which this also will benefit you and apply to you. So it gives me hope too that people in these different dietary restriction communities can kind of come together and like work together to figure out ways to make each other feel safe, like the ADINA Act. So I'm not sure like what's happening next with that, but I'm hoping there will be another hearing or something happening soon. But at least from what I'm aware, there is progress being done with it, and I just hope that we can get this signed into law and this can be put into practice, because it's going to make people's lives so much easier. Because like you said, like there's not always even an ingredient list on medication, let alone like an allergen label disclosing what allergens are used in it. So it's so scary, like, not knowing what you're consuming half the time, because you don't even know. So I'm really excited about this happening. So
yeah, totally. Yeah, hopefully more progress in that direction. But I think like what you're doing on social media just helps spread awareness of it, because I think, yeah, it does become this political thing, even though it shouldn't be. But I think just when people are able to like empathize with your story and like sharing your experiences, it's almost like them having a loved one that like is going through the same thing. So they're more willing to like understand and be like, oh, okay, I actually see how this is really beneficial and can help just improve so many people's lives. So
absolutely. I mean, food allergies are becoming a more common epidemic, I would say, around, I believe it's like 1 in 10 children, or no, yeah, I don't know, is it 1 in 3 or 1 in 10 children have food allergies, which is, you know, you can at least like know at least one person that has allergies in your life. So I feel like because I'm trying to spread awareness online, this can help educate the general public in general, and people that don't have allergies might say, well, I know someone that does, and that can help them be more well-informed, because it is becoming a more common thing, unfortunately. I'm not really sure why it's becoming more common, but it is. So
yeah, interesting. I know you have a petition for peanuts.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, that was something I did like a year ago, and I put a halt to it because I have other bigger projects going on. But the overall goal that I plan to kind of resume eventually once the new year starts, because I'm just so fixated on grad school right now, that's taking up a lot of my time.
You go to Columbia, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So cool. And you're studying education?
I'm studying clinical psychology.
Okay. Yeah. I saw teachers college, and then I saw psychology, so I was like trying to figure it out.
It's technically like teachers college is like its own school within Columbia, and it used to be a program for like teachers and education. Then they eventually started adding on like new like degrees and programs like clinical psychology, counseling psychology, like mathematics, some science in there. But overall, it's like a humanities like program in school. But I'm doing clinical psych, which is awesome. But
amazing. I love that.
The goal, because I feel like oftentimes people with allergies are very anxious or cautious of where they are, like in terms of their environment, like if they go to like a party or like a park, like a public space in general. And something that I hear from my followers is that they just don't like to go to these types of environments because there's a risk of like food being there, and like people have an airborne allergy to nuts. Is I think the most, I don't want to give the wrong information, so I'm not going to say if it's the most common airborne allergy, but peanuts are one of the most common allergies out there, and a lot of people that I know, including myself, are airborne to it. So I feel like at this point, I would love to see at some point having a requirement for public spaces like parks to be at least peanut free, or to, because I think that it would make people feel more safe and included. And I feel like because peanut is not like something people can like, people don't like need it. Like I feel like it's okay to ban a food. I know people might say, because I posted videos of me like, you know, boarding an airplane and saying how I want, you know, the flight staff to tell the passengers to not eat nuts on the flight. And I'll get so much hate and comments of people saying like, I'm going to eat my nuts anyway. And I'm like, guys, it's just 3 hours of no peanuts. Like, you'll be fine. You will live. You don't need peanuts for 3 hours. You can eat it after your flight. I feel like it's the same thing with like a public space. Like, you don't really need to have peanuts there. I feel like that's kind of not essential of a food.
Yeah, totally. And I saw that video on your social media, and I was going to ask you about that because I did see those comments, and like, what do you say to people like beyond just like, okay, it's just like 3 hours of your life, but like someone that's like leading with like, kind of like a hateful mentality, in my opinion. They're like, oh my God, you're ruining it for all of us. Like, now we can't have peanuts. Like, what would you like, what is your message to people that have that mentality?
Well, I think there's different ways to view it. I could be petty and just be like, womp womp. Like, it's grow up. It's 3 hours. You can live without eating peanuts for 3-5 hours, even like a 12-hour flight. You don't need peanuts. But realistically, if I want to be like mature about it, I just think, you know, clearly they're not educated enough about allergies, because if they actually knew how serious it was and they had an ounce of empathy, they would say, okay, like, I don't want to put someone's life in danger. I'd rather wait and like not be responsible for someone's like death or in a life-threatening situation, or do something that could endanger and harm someone else, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like it's just a lot of ignorance is what it seems like. And if anything, it just encourages me to keep posting, because there's so much ignorance and people don't know enough, and I need to keep doing my job by educating and spreading more awareness about it.
Totally.
So
I agree. And I do think it is one of those things. It's like if someone has a loved one with allergies, then they're just, I don't know, they like have that empathy for it and they understand it from their personal experience. But a lot of times if they don't, they're just like, oh, like, I don't get it. Like, why should I have to change my habits? But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to like having a supportive community and world where like we want everyone to feel safe, and like no one should feel like they can't experience life because of their autoimmune disease or their allergies. Like obviously it's something you have to think about, but you shouldn't be like, oh, I can't travel to Europe because I'm worried about my food allergies. Or,
yeah, absolutely. And I try to showcase that on my page, because oftentimes people will comment on my videos saying like, I could never travel because I have a peanut allergy. And I'm like, well, if you tell the flight staff, like put like a note when you like order your plane ticket, and then like go to the gate before you board and talk to like the person at the front desk, and then talk to the flight staff if you have a severe allergy, they're most likely going to want to accommodate that and make an announcement to make sure no one eats nuts on the plane. And if they give you a hard time, then that's a different problem. It's a different stories. I have heard people say they've had a hard time with that. Personally, I've never had an issue, which is
great,
shocking, because I'm like, people that have said like, oh no, like I've had flight attendants like say no and they just decline that. And I'm like, that's shocking, because I've never had that experience.
Wow, yeah.
But I feel like if you advocate for yourself, like you can do things and live your best life with allergies, like travel. That's why I try to showcase that through my page. So,
yeah. That's amazing. Do you think like, and I know that you've had food allergies like all of your life, because I did some stalking and like I know your content and everything.
Yeah.
Do you think that has just kind of like always been in you since like from day one you've had to advocate for yourself? Like you have that confidence to do that? Or was there a time where you were like maybe a little shy, or like when you were growing up, maybe your parents did more of that and then you had to learn how to do it for yourself? Or what was that like?
That's a good question. I feel like when I was really young, my mom especially was my biggest advocate. She's been my biggest advocate throughout my entire life until now that I'm an adult. I can advocate for myself. But I would say like for like the first, 10, 12 years of my life, I definitely was more nervous about advocating for myself because, during that age, people are kind of judgy. Like when you're like in middle school, kids are kind of mean. You're going to get bullied. At least I got bullied a lot in middle school. And so I just did not have the self-confidence to advocate for myself. So I usually would have like my mom help me out with that. But eventually, like, I kind of realized like eventually when I have to be an adult, I'm going to be on my own. I have to learn how to do this by myself. And so my mom would, teach me like what things to say, what questions to ask. And we would do like role play scenarios to practice. And at times if I was like out with her at a restaurant, she would have me talk to the waiter instead of her talk to the waiter. So I kind of practiced and eventually kind of gained that confidence over time. But for the first bit of my life, it was very much like, I didn't like advocating for myself. I didn't like doing it. But because, you have these allergies, it's kind of life or death. You have no choice but to advocate for yourself. So I've kind of had to learn just to like do it and get used to it. And now it's like light work. I mean, at times it can be a little bit exhausting giving the whole allergy spiel, but overall, like I've just become so used to it that it's like normal conversation. And
yeah, totally. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. And I have like a question for you based on someone in my life, and I don't want to expose their identity, but someone in my life is allergic to chocolate.
Okay.
And
I am technically too, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay. You get it.
Yeah.
But they don't have like so many allergies. They have like a few other ones. But chocolate is one of like the main ones. And they were in like a work setting and someone was gifting them like chocolate banana bread.
Oh God.
And I guess because when you have like chocolate as an allergy, it doesn't, come up like every single day. So you're maybe not as used to like advocating for yourself in that situation. And they literally just ate it in front of them because they were too nervous or like just didn't feel great about like denying it and having to explain they have a chocolate allergy, and then the person maybe being like, oh, like it's like a guy, so it's like, okay, like, oh, you're not like tough enough, like it's chocolate, like whatever, like didn't want to deal with the teasing. And I mean, luckily it's nothing that was like life or death allergy, but more so just like they just kind of like broke out.
Oh my God.
And like went through an allergic reaction. And I like hearing that story, I was just like, wow. Because like, okay, me like having gluten, I think it's a different, or having celiac. I have gluten, guys. I hopefully have no gluten.
Yes, no gluten. No.
It's kind of one of those things you don't really have to share with so many people. Like I think my close friends know, obviously, because it comes up, but like acquaintances, like it's something you can kind of like hide, especially like growing up with celiac. I was diagnosed at 11. Like,
oh wow, okay.
It was never anything I got bullied about for, because honestly, like no one really knew about it. It's very easy to just kind of like do your own thing with it. You don't have to talk about it. It's not like a life or death in that moment situation. So it doesn't come up at school. So I didn't have that experience. But I would never, if someone offered me gluten to my face, I would make up at least some other excuse, but I would never eat it.
I'm full, or I'm not hungry, something, but
yeah.
He ate it.
So like, what do you have anything to say to like people like that are just maybe still embarrassed, even like as adults, about allergies?
Yeah, I mean, I think that oftentimes our ego can get in the way and we can feel really embarrassed or humiliated about our allergies because there's such a like negative stigma about allergies, like through the media. There's so many movies that portray us as like the like allergy like nerd with like the glasses and the inhaler, or there was like a Super Bowl ad 2-3 years ago that portrayed someone going into anaphylaxis, and it was just like super like they made it like this funny, jokey way, which is not funny because it's life or death for people. So I think because of just the amount of negative stigma there is, people might feel more embarrassed and ashamed. But like you have to try to like rise above that because it can be life or death. And it's like, would you rather be embarrassed for 5 minutes having to explain yourself and your allergies, or end up in the hospital and be like, you know, having to stay there for many hours? And I think it's kind of weighing those pros and cons. I think most people would rather not be in the hospital and rather be embarrassed for 5 minutes. And also, at the end of the day, like, if his coworkers judge him for that, they're weird. Like, that's weird if they're going to say or give him a hard time for having an allergy, because, like, that's not his fault. It's not his choice. He did not ask to have allergies. That's just his life. And I think that you have to try to learn to just, like, own it and embrace your allergies and just, you know, view it as just like it's life or death, and to not be embarrassed. Like, it's so hard to say, like, don't be embarrassed. I don't want to say it like that, but really it's like there's not much of a choice. Like, like technically if you want to eat it, you technically could, but you could end up again in the back of an ambulance, and that's not,
like, you have to put your health first at the end of the day. Like, that's kind of like what we have as people, is like our health.
Yeah.
And I think, like, even if maybe it isn't a life or death allergy, it's kind of one of those things, right? Like, you never really know. Like, you could have a worse reaction.
I mean, sometimes, like, what's crazy is for me, I have gained and outgrown and gained allergies back. And sometimes my allergies might be like mild, but then I might eat the same allergen and then react like super severe. So for him, he might have had that chocolate, what was that, banana chocolate thing, whatever.
Yeah, something, yeah.
And maybe this one time he reacted, it was fine. But if he ate it again, he could have had a way worse reaction. Like, it can change and your body can fluctuate. So it's always like really important to just like take it so seriously, because it is your health. And like, if you are healthy, like, that is a privilege, and you don't want to mess that up if you can try to avoid it. So I think, you know, again, like, it can be embarrassing. I've definitely had moments where I feel like, oh, I don't want to give the allergy spiel. It's like, especially like when someone offers me a food that they made, like, that is so kind. I don't want to be like, no, I'm allergic, but it's your health. Your health is on the line, and that to me is way more important than being embarrassed about a silly little allergy. It's not silly or little, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, no, totally. And I have a question I'm just curious about, and I don't, obviously you're not a medical professional, and I have like a big disclaimer on the podcast, like, this is not medical advice. But having like an allergic reaction, I know it's very much like, that's kind of the big difference, I think, between celiac and having allergies, is that like with celiac, like, you might have some symptoms in the moment, but it's more about like the long-term damage that it's giving like your small intestines.
Right.
Are there like long-term consequences beyond, like, I mean, obviously if you're like, you know, having an experience in the hospital, there are like severe consequences at stake, but like thinking like 20 years like down the line from like having an allergic reaction, or do you know?
You know, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to like give
totally yeah
But I think, you know, I will say in my situation, because I am labeled as a medically complex patient, so everything that I experience is it's not typical. So I'd say for me, like, if I go into anaphylactic reaction, like, I'm more prone to having more reactions for the next few weeks because my body's super hypersensitive. But in terms of long-term damage, unless you go into anaphylaxis and you do epinephrine like way too late, you might, I mean, there are negative consequences to that, but I don't think there are long-term anything long-term from my personal experience. But again, like, everyone's different. I know with like getting gluten, like, you may not even feel it, but then again, like, down the road, you might, you know, be more prone to like, I think like cancer, right? Is one of the symptoms of getting gluten, or like over time. So allergies, I'm not 100% sure, but at least for me, I just have like a few adverse symptoms for the next few weeks, and then it kind of goes away. But
okay, that makes sense.
Does that answer your question?
Curious.
Kind of.
No, it totally does. And I know last week you had an experience. You were going for a food challenge for Hazelnut, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you want to share everything that happened?
I feel myself crying. Like, I literally am an open book. I have nothing to hide. One of my whole like things about my allergy page is I just want to show like the whole experience, the positive and the negative. So if I'm going through something that's like really bad, like this reaction, I want to showcase that to my viewers and to just the general public, to show like allergies have its ups and downs. So I had a pretty bad down last week where, you know, I had a food challenge for Hazelnut. And for those that don't know how that works, basically you, prior to doing a food challenge, you'll get like skin testing and blood testing done on all your supposed allergens. And if the numbers are low or low enough, then you're going to do a food challenge where you eat the allergen to see, because sometimes the skin and blood results are not always accurate. So the best way to know if you're actually allergic to it is by eating it. That's how you know. So my allergist was pretty confident that hazelnut could be maybe something I can outgrow, because the numbers for the protein that I'm allergic to were basically, I think, like 0 to none or extremely low. And so I went into this challenge like not having the super highest hopes, because I don't want to get my hopes up, because I have like passed and failed a few challenges. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this and just, I hope I pass, but I'm going to try to stay neutral. And so, you know, with these challenges, you eat like a small dose of hazelnut and then you wait 15 minutes. And if you don't have any reactions, you eat more of it. And you do this for kind of about like 3-ish, 4-ish hours. So I was eating hazelnut for
so you're there for that long?
Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah.
And do you like, is that all you're doing? Or like, do you bring your laptop and like study?
I bring my laptop. Like I would study for like my exams, or I would do some work. So I was like doing some work as I work.
That helps like take your mind off of it too, I'm sure, because it must be anxiety inducing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, instead of like me twiddling my thumbs, like, wait a minute, am I going to have a reaction? I'm like, I'm just going to do my work. And then within 15 minutes, it's like, okay, time for the next dose. And I forgot that I even ate the hazelnut, and I did not have a reaction. So after, you know, eating all 6 doses of it, I ate a lot of hazelnuts. We waited another hour and a half to make sure no reaction, because usually for me, I react pretty fast within like 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe the latest would be like an hour, but usually it's pretty quick, like 5 to 10. Wow, and I was not reacting. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like I think I outgrew this allergy. And so, you know, when you pass a food challenge at this clinic, the doctor and nurse will come in with like bubbles and like celebrate, and it's so lovely. And so I was like, yay, I passed, awesome. And of course my doctor said, make sure you have epinephrine on you at all times, because delayed reactions can happen. I was like, yeah, of course, like I always do, but did not think that would happen to me. Yeah. And then fast forward like 6, 7, I hate saying 6, 7 because that's like a meme, right? I'm like 6, 7 hours.
Wait, that's hilarious.
6, 7 hours later, I'm like laying in bed trying to have a self-care night. I was like watching this really good Netflix show called Death by Lightning. It's about President Garfield. Super random, super niche, but it's actually really good. I was watching it and I'm like laying in bed, and all of a sudden my throat just starts feeling really tight. And I'm like, that's weird. That's not supposed to happen. And then my lip starts to feel really tingly, and my tongue and my throat felt really like itchy and tingly, like kind of like sandpaper. And I go look in the mirror, and my lip was like swollen. And I'm like, what the, like, I don't want to swear, but what the hell? Like, what in the world? Yeah. And so I'm like having trouble breathing. I'm like, okay, like I have to do epinephrine now, because if I wait any longer, like it's not going to be good. And I'm alone in my apartment. Like this is really scary doing this alone, like at night with nobody there. And so
do you live alone?
I do. Yeah. I have like family nearby, like cousins and stuff, and some friends. So, like if I, like God forbid, like I have people, like I did contact my family and like friends and stuff, but I do live alone. So having to go through anaphylaxis like alone in your apartment at like 9 p.m. on like a Thursday night is like not the vibe at all. Oh my gosh. So I do epinephrine. I call my parents saying, okay, I did epinephrine. I'm going to call 911, but I want you just to, you know now. Then I call 911, and the paramedics come in and they take me to the emergency room. And I was there for like 3.5 hours. And it was just like, it was very traumatic. The one positive thing that came from that experience is that the paramedics I had were so nice, and they were so funny. And one of them actually follows my TikTok or Instagram, and I was so like, sweet. And I was like, hey, could I film some content? I won't film you guys. I want to just document this so I can show my viewers, and just for my records in case like I need it for like legal reasons, which I'm not going to need it for legal reasons. There's nothing, but I always like to just keep footage just to have.
Totally,
you never know.
Of course, yeah.
And so the paramedic was like, oh yeah, of course, like you can film, but wait a second, like I feel like I've seen you before. You look really familiar now that I'm looking at you up close. And I'm like, yeah, I post videos online about my allergies. He's like, what's your name again? And I gave him my allergy like page and he's like, look, I follow you. My wife follows you. We love your videos. I'm like, that's crazy. That's like the
Do they
one
have
good
allergies
thing.
too, or are they just
No, they're just paramedics.
Okay.
And I guess the thing is when you're a paramedic, you're going to be seeing like content about like people with health issues, I guess. So that's probably his niche. So it's kind of cool, like being able to like, you know, be recognized, I guess, in that context. But I mean, it was a really bad situation, but that was like the one positive thing. And they were really
it's good
fun.
to find those positive moments in a scary situation.
You
like
have
that.
to, or else it's just, there's no way to get through it. That's what I've learned is you have to find, well, at least one good thing that came from it. So with that, I had really nice paramedics. And even the doctor at the ER, he was super nice and funny and was trying to like make jokes. So I didn't feel like anxious and stuff. So, but it was not pleasant. But thankfully, like I called my doctor the next day, and she was not happy to hear that, and she felt super like apologetic and felt really bad. And they handled it really well. I love the allergists that I go to in New York. I started seeing them this past August, I think, or September. I started seeing them, and and even though I had this delayed reaction, like they handled it so well, and I'm so like appreciative of that because my other allergist I used to see for a long time, he was great, but he was just really busy and did not have always like the time.
Well, I'm so sorry that happened. I was following every step on social media and I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm just glad that you're doing better. And I feel like, that must have been so traumatizing, but it's so inspiring that you have like a positive mindset about it and you're able to see like the good things that come from it and like connecting with, you know, the paramedic that follows you and everything.
Exactly.
So that's wonderful. I wanted to ask you kind of like, in a similar vein, so you're studying psychology.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel like that's like so cool one.
Thank you.
And so like, I'm just wondering, did, you know, your journey growing up with food allergies inspire you to like want to study psychology at all? Okay.
Yeah, it like 100% did.
Wow, okay, cool.
I saw a food allergy psychologist when I was in high school, and she absolutely changed my life. She helped me feel confident in eating out and like no longer like even just having shame or embarrassment around my allergies. She helped me like gain just overall self-confidence and become like more resilient when I am faced with like allergic reactions or just really difficult hurdles that come my way with having allergies, because that's kind of what comes with having allergies, is just going through all kinds of surprises, not great ones, but she kind of inspired me. And then once I started posting online during COVID and seeing a lot of comments about people saying how they also experience food allergy anxiety, I was like, wow, this food allergy anxiety thing seems to be a pretty common occurrence around people in my community. And I really felt like there is definitely a need for more food allergy aware psychologists in the space. And because I saw one that changed my life, I want to be able to provide that for other people, because I'm living through it. I understand what it's like, and I've developed like the skills to cope with it. I want to be able to provide that for other people down the road. So.
That's amazing. I love that. So you specifically know for sure that you want to be a food allergist psychologist.
Yeah, like I might work with like other people that have like maybe celiac disease or other dietary restrictions, but my primary interest is food allergies. So yeah,
that's
super
amazing.
niche.
No, I love that. And like a clinical psychologist, that's kind of your like the main focus is like kind of therapy type style, or what is it exactly?
For me, I'm really interested in like doing psychotherapy and like having my own practice or working in like an allergy clinic and providing emotional support for allergy patients. But also I'd love to, you know, do some research and find better interventions to help people with food allergies and find better coping mechanisms and skills, because there is like some research coming out now, but this is like becoming like a more newer thing is food allergy psychology. Like there's not a lot of food allergy psychologists out there. The ones I do know, they are incredible people and they're doing such amazing work, and I want to just be more involved with that. But I definitely want to like find more interventions to help support people through like allergy treatment, like OIT, which is a treatment where you microdose your allergen basically every day. And I plan to start doing that next year, which is, I haven't even announced that on my page, but yeah, like this, you can announce it here, but yeah. So definitely finding interventions to help support patients with that and just food allergy anxiety in general, because it can be very debilitating and can be really hard to like eat out when you just have the constant fear that a food you could eat could put you in a life-threatening situation. So
no, totally. And I know a lot of people with celiac deal with like anxiety with like going to restaurants and stuff. There's a ton of overlap with that. And that's so fascinating. I'm like, I'm such a big fan of therapy. I've like gone to therapy, but I've never like talked about celiac in therapy, I don't think.
Really?
Like maybe it's come up, but it's like it hasn't been like a main topic, but that's so fascinating. I can totally see how, especially like if someone is like adjusting to that lifestyle, like having someone that, you know, is well versed in that and is able to talk about that with them and, you know, have that psychologist perspective on everything. I could see how that's such a helpful tool.
Oh yeah.
What inspired you? Because you've had food allergies all your life, so what was it, just like available to you in high school, or what inspired you to go in high school specifically?
So I was experiencing like a lot of like allergic reactions during high school all the time. Like I was going to like, I probably had like 5 or 6 anaphylactic reactions in high school, which is like it was so bad. But because of that, it really messed up with my mental health. I was feeling really depressed and anxious a lot, and you know, my mom wanted me to get some like specialized support, and I think she probably asked like my allergist at the time if she knew anyone, and they did have someone that is like a very prominent allergy psychologist in the space. And so I had the privilege of working with her, and that's how my mom was like my advocate at that time too, so she definitely like helped me find the psychologist. But oftentimes like hospitals might have like at least one person, so my hospital in Boston had this psychologist, and so that's how I found her, through my mom or my allergist. So
that's awesome. Wow. And then now you're pursuing that. That's like so full circle.
What's crazy is how I went to this allergy like conference 2 years ago in DC, and I actually ran into my food allergy psychologist there. And,
no way. Wow.
And I was like, no. And she remembered me. I'm now doing like, I want to do what you're doing. And I hope to meet with her soon. I emailed her regarding like having like a check-in, because I want to just like chat about a few things like psychology stuff.
Yeah.
But it was so cool like being able to like be in that same like advocacy space as her, when I used to want to like be a patient of hers, and now I'm like, you know, wanting to follow her exact career path, which is really surreal and cool. So that was a fun little moment.
That's amazing. I love that. I have a question. I was kind of talking with Nogla and Gabby on the podcast about this a little bit, because she was also, you know, like diagnosed with celiac disease, and then now it's like her full-time job is like advocating for celiac disease, posting about celiac disease. You have food allergies, but obviously like you're a person outside of that, or I'm curious to your perspective on like identity and separating like your identity from that. And then now, especially with like, you have your page, which is all about allergies, and then the like career path that you're pursuing is like very focused on that too. So how do you think about that?
I gotta say, I feel like because my food allergies my entire life has been like, I feel like I've always let my allergies define me as a person, which when I was like young, and you know, there's like definitely like pros and cons to that, but there are a lot of cons, because I'm obviously more than just my allergies. Like I love photography, I love to read, I love like listening to like classic rock, like I have hobbies and things like that. But I think since starting like doing my allergy career and how that's become like my job, I've had to make a conscious effort to not let it define me or be my identity. I feel like my food allergies, if anything, have helped form me to the person that I am today, where I'm more like, I'm resilient, I'm, you know, I advocate for myself all the time, I have a lot of self-confidence, I'm empathetic, I'm patient, and I'm open-minded. So I think that my allergies have helped form me to the person that I am today, but I've now don't want to like let it become me. Like, yes, when people, because I've been stopped in public and people are like, oh, you're the girl with the allergies, and I'm like, yeah, but there's more to me than just that. But technically, like, that's how I am perceived online. That's kind of my fault for being like
how you're branding yourself too.
It's kind of my fault, but you know what, like, it's okay. You have to have a brand. That's my brand. But if you do get to know me, like, there's more to me than just my allergies. Like, I am a fun person. I also like love my me time, just like I'm actually pretty introverted. Fun fact, like, people are shocked by it, but I love like being by myself and like but I think that it's important to find like a balance of like having a career around like your health condition, but also making sure you have, like, do things for yourself that aren't related to that, so you don't get lost in it and let that define you, if that makes sense.
For sure. Yeah, that's a great perspective on it. And I like what you said. It's kind of like it does shape you into who you are in so many ways. So it is a part of your identity in that way. And it is kind of one of those things that's like, it's a part of who you are. So it's you can't really just like take it away from your identity, but no, it seems like you have a great like outlook on that.
I try. I try my best.
Wait, so when I was stalking your page, I saw something about how your like brother had a reaction when you were in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So are you not the only person in your family that has food allergies?
Yes, my brother, he has like a nut allergy and I think seafood, but he used to be allergic to a lot of things and then he just magically outgrew most of it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Somehow I was cursed and I just like I don't know what happened.
Are you younger or older?
I'm the older sibling, so we look like we're twins. People always think that we're twins, but he's actually 2 years younger than me.
Oh, that's so funny.
But
and neither of your parents have allergies?
My dad has a shellfish allergy, but he still eats it anyway. He just suffers. He has like we'll get like hives, but that's it. He's like, it's worth it to him to have hives if he eats shellfish.
Okay.
But he does have like eczema. And so I think what happened is that I got what he has, but food allergy version instead of eczema. I mean, I do have eczema. I do get that too. But he's a very allergic person, but more to like environmental stuff, I think. And that obviously manifests into like eczema. And I think I got what he has, but food allergy version, if that makes sense. Like I still have those high histamine levels that he would get, but it just looks different. But my mom, she doesn't have anything. She has like a gluten intolerance, but somehow I was the cursed child and got all the allergies and everything. But it's okay. I'm not complaining. So
totally. Yeah. Okay. So you're kind of like more of like the special one in your family, I guess.
I'm the special one in the family. Like, yeah.
Got it. Okay. And like, what was that like growing up in the household? Like, in terms of like cooking and things like that?
Well, like we have like a whole stash in the house of all my medicine. Like it's just like epinephrine, just like boxes of it and like tons of Zyrtec. And like it's just like when you live in an allergy household, there's like all these different like staple items. Like again, like having a stash of epinephrine and Zyrtec or antihistamines. And then it's like just a bunch of safe foods. So like the fridge is just all my safe foods. And then like let's say you know, I wanted to like bring like I bought like a snack that I like, but I don't want anybody else to eat it. I write on Sharpie, this is for Mia, do not touch. Like this is Mia only, because I'm like I don't want anyone eating like my allergy safe snacks.
Totally,
but there is like this one little shelf in my parents' like house in the kitchen that is like at the very top shelf where I can't reach it, which has like some things that have like nuts in it. So it's like if they want to have it, it's like hard to reach. But besides that, like my house has always been very like allergy friendly. Like the dog I had growing up, he was hypoallergenic, so even the dog was allergy friendly.
Okay,
so
awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of like how I grew up. And then with cooking, like my mom is an absolute genius. Like I'm so grateful for her with my allergies. Like she is like my hero. And you know, I would want to try different cuisines like Asian food, because oftentimes Asian food, you know, has like sesame oil or fish oil or peanuts, and I'm allergic to all of those things. And my mom would figure out how to make recipes that are similar and like replace ingredients and make like wonton soup and like pad thai and fried rice and make it allergy safe, and I could enjoy that. So when it was like oftentimes like the kitchen was like my safe place, because my mom would make all these like really good allergy safe meals that I couldn't have out but I could have at home. So it's something that I really like cherish and I'm grateful for.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And do you enjoy cooking now? I mean, I know you're probably so busy, but
I love to bake. I'm definitely more of a baking girly, but I can cook. I like to cook, but because I'm just so stressed about grad school all the time and like everything else I'm doing, I don't have time to cook elaborate meals, but I plan to, because now I'm in winter break. I have a month off. I plan to go home and I'm going to like lock in and try to make a few recipes that I've been wanting to try. I can make good like lemon chicken. I can make like bolognese. I can cook. It's just I don't love it yet, but I know that eventually I will like to cook. I have to just like keep trying and be patient with that process. But
Totally. It takes time and it's hard like in your busy schedule to figure that out. So that's a great plan, like while you're on break.
Exactly.
That inspires
also,
me.
Yeah, I mean also like I live in a New York City apartment. I don't have like a giant kitchen.
Totally.
But when I'm home, I have like a kitchen where I can like actually run around and like have stuff laid out and everything. But when you're in a New York City apartment, like it's like,
hard, yeah.
Cooking, it's tough. But
I saw you're a big Chipotle fan, which kind of surprised me. I wouldn't think that would be allergy
I love
friendly.
Chipotle. Oh, they are like to me one of the most allergy friendly places ever, because they are completely nut free, they are egg free, they are sesame free, seafood free.
And is that on purpose or just happens to be like that?
Happens to be that way.
Wow.
I mean, they do have like dairies, they have like the shredded cheese and the melted cheese, and they have wheat because they have like the tortillas. But if you just talk to the staff and say, hey, I have these allergies, can you go to the back and use a clean tub of like lettuce and guac, whatever, they will do it for you. Like they might be a bit annoyed at you and roll their eyes at you, but they will still do it. Just be pleasant and just say please and thank you, then they'll do it. But they are like the most allergy safe place, honestly. I can, like, if I were to say what's the most allergy safe place, I'd probably say Chipotle, because
that's amazing. And they have them everywhere, so you can always depend on it.
Oh my god, I mean, when I was anywhere where I travel to, if I like don't know what to eat, I just go get Chipotle. Even in London, I went to London like
they need to sponsor you.
Yeah, I want like Chipotle. If you're seeing this, please sponsor me. But when I went to like London, like they have Chipotle there too. So like if I don't know what to eat, I could just get Chipotle there. Like it's all the same, which I'm so thankful for. I think oftentimes like when it comes to eating out, it can be really hard. But I feel like chain restaurants are usually a better bet because they deal with all kinds of customers, so they kind of have to be more accommodating to that. Like McDonald's is, I mean, they're not the healthiest option, but they definitely have like some allergy safe options for someone like me. But Chipotle by far is like, to me, the best like place for allergies.
Yeah,
which is shocking for some people, I guess. But I'm like, that's
so shocking, but I love that. What's a Chipotle order?
Okay, I get a bowl or a burrito, but usually I get a bowl with white rice, pinto beans, chicken, corn, lettuce, and guac. And then sometimes I'll get a side of chips to like dip it in.
Oh, that sounds great.
Do you get Chipotle? Do you like Chipotle?
I do sometimes. Oh my gosh.
If you were to go, what's your order if you were to go? If you even haven't.
I would do brown rice, black beans. So we're different in that regard. And then I would either do like steak or chicken.
Period.
And guac for sure. And then like the pico and then the medium salsa.
Oh, yum. That sounds like a delicious like bowl though. That sounds fire. So
yeah, we love that. Okay, wait. Yes. One last thing I wanted to ask you about, because I've seen you kind of like share about this like a little bit. I'm so fascinated, and like we've talked about this on the podcast in terms of celiac, like the financial costs behind like going to the doctor. What can you share about like the financial costs behind having allergies in terms of like epinephrine, you know, like going to the ER last week, and like, what does that look like?
I am like dreading to get that bill in the mail. Like I'm like, I don't even want that bill to arrive in the mail. It's going to though. But I mean, epinephrine ain't cheap. It is like, I know in Europe, it's probably like $10-$20. In the US, like an epinephrine, like auto injector pen is like at least $600, which is like
really
diabolical.
That big of a difference.
Yeah, and that's without insurance. Like you have to make sure you have insurance, or else you're going to be paying like, I mean, even insurance costs money. Everything's just expensive when it comes to healthcare here. But epinephrine's expensive. And you know, you have to get you have to get like a refill of it like every 2 years when it expires. And usually I have about like in my apartment I probably have like 3 or 4 boxes of it, because you got to be prepared in case. And especially when you travel somewhere, I always like to carry a bunch of it with me, so it adds up. Thankfully my insurance covers it completely, which I'm really like blessed and grateful for, but that's not the reality for a lot of Americans. And then on top of that, you think about, you know, antihistamines like Zyrtec. Zyrtec is also, I love Zyrtec. I take it every day, but it's not cheap. It's like a bottle of it's like $40. And if you get it like once a month, like that's, you know, it adds up over time. Totally. And then, you know, in terms of the ambulance bills and the hospital bills, like I had an anaphylactic reaction back in May, like 2 days before I graduated college, which was like the worst time ever. No. But I had it, and then I got the medical bill in the mail, and they charged me like for IV fluid, it was like $2,000 for being in they said they put like emergency room. I was actually not in a room. I was in a hallway, not even an emergency room, which is like ridiculous. But the emergency room or emergency hallway, I like to say, was like $6,000.
Oh my gosh.
For like 2.5 hours. And then the ambulance was like almost $3,000. Yeah. And this was before insurance covered it. Thankfully, like insurance covered a lot of it. And we worked things out with the restaurant that the reaction happened at, that they were able to help cover the bills too. But it was just like, it's shocking to get that bill in the mail and think to myself, like, thank God I have insurance, because I don't have to worry about that. But imagine someone that doesn't have insurance. Like some people will, you know, do epinephrine but not call 911 because of the ambulance, because the ambulance usually isn't covered by insurance. And I'm like, and that's
so sad that someone's thinking about that when they're like having a life-threatening reaction.
And that's what I said when I called my parents. I was like, Mom, Dad, like, should I like, and even though I'm under their insurance bill, I always try to be like mindful, because I don't want to, I feel bad that they have to like spend all this money on me when it comes to my health. And so when I called my parents, I was like, hey, you know, I did epinephrine, like, should I call an ambulance? Like, yeah, you should call an ambulance to me. Like, you have to call one. I'm like, but Mom, like, it's expensive. She's like, expensive? So what? Like, you have to do it. It's for your health. Like, we're paying for it. Like, don't worry about it. I'm like, but insurance won't even cover it. And they're like, well, it's your life and your health. Like, you have to just do it. I'm like, all right.
Right,
like,
yeah.
I'll do it. But I always feel guilty, because I'm like, it usually is around like $3,000. And you're in the ambulance for like, what, 2-3 minutes? It's a joke. It's ridiculous.
No, that makes sense. But you shouldn't feel guilty. I'm not trying to tell you how to feel, but it's like that's such a valid experience, but like, yeah, it is your health. And like, you have to do everything in your power to, you know, put that first and take care of yourself.
Oh, yeah. And then it's also just like on top of the ambulance, hospital, also it's just like your regular allergist appointments cost money, and then like doing allergy testing and then allergy treatment. Like, it's just having allergies is a very expensive thing. Unless you have really good insurance, like, it ain't cheap. You're going to
have to keep making that like financial investment. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that, because I think that just helps with awareness too, so people like really know what the experience is like and how it affects your life in so many ways.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I like. There's so many questions I wrote down that like, we didn't even get to, but we've just been chatting.
Yes.
For so long. This has been so fun.
I know.
I have a few like rapid fire questions to end us off with.
Okay.
Okay. We went through your Chipotle order, but what's your go-to order at like a standard like restaurant?
Oh, okay. I love the Smith. Have you ever been to the Smith before?
Yeah.
They have a dedicated gluten-free fryer, which is really good. At least in their East Village location, they do.
Oh, okay. No way.
Yeah.
I haven't been to that location. I need to go.
Go there. They have a dedicated fryer. So whenever I go there, I get their bar steak. I get it cooked medium with spinach and fries on the side, and I get chimichurri sauce, and it is the best thing ever. That's like my go-to order. Usually whenever I eat out is like a steak and fries and a vegetable. Yeah. That's like my allergy safe order.
That sounds delicious. And celiac safe. We love the overlap.
We do.
The most annoying question people ask you.
Oh, okay. So for me, if it's more about like cross contact, and like if I like want to order something and whatever, or like I'm with a friend or someone that doesn't really know about allergies, and they offer me a item, like a food item, and I'm like, oh, I can't have it because it has like a specific nut. They're like, oh, I can just remove it and then it's safe for you, right? I'm like, no, like that's not like, that doesn't matter. It touched the nut, like I can't eat it. So that's probably, it's not even like a question. It's just like a statement where they just think, oh, if there's a little bit on it, you're fine, right? Or oh, if I just pick it off, it's fine. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, I think that comes down to education. Like, people just don't know. And like my fears, like whenever I go to a restaurant and like they bring something out and it's like, say I ordered a gluten-free burger, but they like bring it out and I'm like, oh, is this the gluten-free one? And they're like, oh, actually no, like we accidentally put like the regular bread on it or something. And then they like send it back to switch it out. I'm like, I'm very clear. I'm like, make sure like you have to like recook the whole thing.
Yeah,
like,
new burger, everything.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to be high maintenance, but like, please like give me like a full new burger. And they're like, okay. And I'm always like a little anxious about it. I'm like, I hope that they did that and didn't just like switch out the buns.
That's like my biggest fear. It's you have to like put your trust in their hands and hope that they won't like F it up. It's always like, it's risky.
Exactly. Okay, one thing you wish people knew about having allergies.
Okay. Allergies, they are real, and oftentimes people might think like it's in your head. I have relatives that think that it's in my head and that it's like a mental illness. So I think just being like, these are real. It's not a choice. I'm not picky, because oftentimes I'll get comments, people saying, oh, you're just picky. Like, just eat the allergen and you're fine. I'm like, no, like, this is a real thing. This is not my choice. I did not ask God to give me allergies. Like, I did not want this. So I think just recognizing that, like, knowing that allergies are real, they are a real thing, they're life-threatening, and to take them seriously, which is such a like default thing to say, but it's like,
no, it's a great answer. And like, I think Lexi said the same thing last week when I was like, what's one thing you wish people knew about celiac disease? She was like, it's not my choice. Yeah. Like, and I think that that's, especially as people that like post online, I think that's a common thing. It's like, oh my God, like, what are you doing?
Like attention seeker. I'm like, no.
Exactly. Because you're posting about it, and I get it. It's like a little ironic. Like, okay, like I'm posting on social media. Obviously, it's like,
I'm going to get attention.
Right. But that's not the point.
No, I'm just trying to educate people. I just want people to understand what allergies are and that they are real. Like.
Exactly. Okay, last question. If you could change one thing about how society handles food allergies, what would it be?
Oh my God. Okay, I read this question. I was like, that's a good question. I would say that I wish, I just wish that everyone was informed about allergies and knew the basics about allergies. Like, I wish, at least in like schools, like elementary school, middle school, high school, how like they'll have like a assembly meeting for like anti-bullying stuff. I wish they did the same thing with people with allergies and would educate like the general public about allergies, and like how to like, talk to someone that's allergic, what things to say, what things not to say, like how to know what cross contact is, know how to use epinephrine, like all these different things. Like, I wish that like the general public was just more well informed. And I think if like elementary schools and middle schools and high schools have like an allergy program or something like an anti-bullying or anti-drug type of thing, but with allergies, that would be like a dream, because that's usually when kids are learning and understanding things, and so that's like the prime time to do it, so then they can be more well informed as they get older and talk about with their peers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And even if it was like a required unit in like the health class that you have to take, you know,
like that,
that would be so nice. Yeah. Wow, I love that. Okay, this was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you for having me. This was such an awesome conversation.
Yay! Where can everyone follow you?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube at Allergies with Mia, or my website, allergieswithmia.com. But that's where you can find me. So, yeah.
Amazing. Yay! Definitely go give Allergies with Mia a follow and follow the show if you haven't yet.
Yes, definitely subscribe and follow.
Thank you for listening. And I will catch you guys here next Wednesday for another episode.
Yay!
Bye! Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Celiac Diaries podcast. I hope you're leaving with a tip, a story, or just a little inspiration to live your best life with celiac. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a review. I'll see you back here next Wednesday. And until then, stay well.